With lightning-like speed, a couple of figures rushed through the air above a mountain range permeated with an ancient aura. There was also a trace of misery vaguely present. "Teacher, those fellows have definitely locked onto us." A pretty figure gently pressed against a tree branch. The figure rushed out as her pretty eyes glanced behind her. A worried expression filled those eyes. She turned her head and revealed a familiar pretty face. She was surprisingly Yanran. It was likely that no one else other than Yun would be addressed as teacher by Yanran. If one were to turn one's head to the side, there was a woman in a white dress beside Yanran. The woman's dress flapped with the wind as she flew. She emitted a noble appearance that was difficult to describe. Her pristine face caused the mountains to become a lot more beautiful. Who else could this appearance belong to other than Yun, who had become the chief of the Flower Sect? These bastards from the Profound Sky Sect actually launched a sneak attack while we were fighting with a ferocious beast, causing Elder Qinghua to die miserably to the ferocious beast. Once we return, we need to gather the full strength of our sect to fight to the death with the Profound Sky Sect. A somewhat pale-looking old woman behind Yun furiously cried out. A trace of blood remained on the corner of her mouth. Clearly, she had experienced a big battle. "We must not let off these bastards." The other few Flower Sect's elders furiously cried out when they heard her words. "Elders, now is not the time to talk about this. The Profound Sky Sect is chasing us. It is clear that they intend to force us all to remain here forever. How will we engage in an all-out life and death battle with them if we cannot even escape this calamity?" Yun shook her head as she inquired. The current her had gotten used to her status as the chief of the Flower Sect. Her words contained a certain prestige. Moreover, she had completely refined the doqi that Granny Hua had left her with Xiao Yan's help. Her actual strength had reached the 8th star of the Dozun level. Hence, the elders behind her did not dare refute her words. All they could do was sigh and nod. Yun only turned her head after hearing the Flower Sect's elders become quiet. However, she knit her eyebrows slightly. The few grand elders of their Flower Sect were currently in a deep retreat. Hence, only a 9-star Dozun elder was present in their group, but this elder had died from the combined attack of the Profound Sky Sect and the ferocious beast. Their party strength had declined, leading them to be chased by the Profound Sky Sect to the point of being in such a miserable state. "Teacher, there are 2 9-star Dozun on the Profound Sky Sect side. Moreover, they will likely catch up soon, given their speed." Yanran looked at Yun and whispered. Yun inclined her head a little. Her hand patted Yanran's shoulder and said, "When the time comes, teacher will fight and allow you to escape. Don't bother about anything else. The most important thing is to escape alive." "What about teacher?" Yanran involuntarily cried out upon hearing Yun's orders. "Being the sect chief of the Flower Sect, I will ultimately fight." Yun shook her head slightly. Her expression changed abruptly, and her body suddenly paused. At the same time, she grabbed Yanran beside her and abruptly pulled her back. Bang! A sharp wind suddenly rushed from in front of her the moment Yun pulled back. The sharp wind turned the huge tree, which the two of them had been standing on earlier, into dust. TSK, Sect Chief Yun, all of you will not be able to escape. Why do you still stubbornly resist? Moreover, it is your blessing to have our deputy sect chief covet you. At that time, you, teacher and disciple, can share a husband and become a great story." A deafening strange laugh soon followed after the wind rushed over this caused Yun and Yanran's expressions to turn a little ugly. "Shameless scumbag." Yanran grit her teeth and furiously cried out. "This elderly self likes this form of address." A black figure appeared in a flash on the tree branch in front of them. The figure was extremely tall but skinny. He appeared like a bamboo black-clothed old man. He lifted his head and strangely laughed at Nalan Yinran. Swoosh, swoosh. The hurried sound of rushing wind also resounded behind Yun Yun's group the moment this old man appeared to block them. Immediately, 10+ figures quickly stepped through the air and hurried over. Finally, they appeared on an empty plot of land behind Yun Yun's group. Ha ha, Sect Chief Yun Yun. This chief has said that all of you will not be able to escape. Over 10 figures slowly stepped forward. The middle-aged man leading them had pale skin. He was wearing a grand purple robe while his eyes were looking at Yun Yun and Nalan Yinran a short distance away. His tongue involuntarily licked his lips. Such an exquisite teacher and disciple pair was really rare. If he were able to take them as his exclusive domain, he would likely be the envy of an unimaginable number of people, especially when the teacher was also the sect chief of the Flower Sect. Lutsong, are you planning to start a big war between the Flower Sect and the Profound Sky Sect? Yun Yun's face was dark as she coldly cried out. I don't really want to do that. Some old fellows who would not die that are in a retreat within the Flower Sect are indeed quite troublesome to deal with. Haha, but it doesn't matter. I will kill the rest and imprison the both of you in my Profound Sky Sect. They will not know anything. That middle-aged man, who was called Lutsong, replied with a smile. He, Deputy Chief, please hurry up and attack. Otherwise the situation might change if we delay. There are many ferocious beasts in this ancient wasteland region. Suffering a loss will be inevitable if we are discovered. A man carrying a purple fan behind Lutsong smiled as he spoke. From his appearance, he was Yao Yangjun, who had attempted to kill Xiao Yan back then. It was unexpected that this fellow was so lucky. He had been able to survive despite being struck by He Qing's punch. Yao is right. If Deputy Chief intends to strike, it is best not to tarry for too long. A shady-looking old man beside Yao Yangjun sinisterly laughed. Lutsong faintly smiled and nodded when he heard these words. After which, he waved his hand and indifferently commanded, in that case, let's strike. Kill everyone other than Yun Yun and her disciple. Understood. All the experts from the Profound Sky Sect replied upon hearing Lutsong's orders. Their bodies immediately moved together and surrounded everyone from the Flower Sect. Wave after wave of majestic Do Chi slowly erupted from their bodies. Yinran, I will break open a path. You should quickly leave. Yun Yun softly exhaled and spoke after seeing them be surrounded. Teacher, Nalan Yinran tightly bit her lower red lip. Her hand tightly held a long sword. She inhaled a deep breath and said, if teacher lands in their hands, there is no point in living. I would rather just die. Ugh, you child. Yun Yun was helpless when she heard Nalan Yinran be stubborn. She was aware that Nalan Yinran was prepared to die. If things turned out badly, it was likely that this teacher and disciple pair would end up remaining in this place forever. Attack. A cold cry suddenly sounded while Yun Yun was quietly sighing in her heart. Those experts from the Profound Sky Sect around them, who were eagerly waiting, let out strange laughs. They charged toward the Flower Sect's group with lightning-like speed as powerful Do Chi erupted. Bang bang! Those Flower Sect's elders revealed some furiously green expressions when they were surrounded and attacked by the experts from the Profound Sky Sect. They unleashed their Do Chi and charged forward without giving in, but their bodies were covered in injuries. Additionally, they had been fleeing during these few days. Their conditions were naturally inferior to those from the Profound Sky Sect. Hence, they fell into a disadvantage after the first exchange. Boom! Yun Yun waved her hand. A vast and might Do Chi erupted and struck an expert from the Profound Sky Sect until he spat out blood and withdrew. Soon after, another 2 experts attacked, causing her to have no choice but to meet them in battle. He, Sect Chief Yun Yun. It looks like you will still end up in our hands this time around. You can rest assured that I will definitely take good care of you when the time comes. Yao Yangjun hurriedly dodged Yun Yun's attack, while he coldly laughed. Yun Yun's face was ice-cold. The dou qi within her body was stimulated to its limit. A palm wind whistled and covered her surroundings. In an instant, even the combined strength of the profound Sky Sect's 4 dou zuns were unable to break her defenses. Bang! While Yun Yun was doing her best to fight, a muffled sound was suddenly emitted from beside her. A lovely figure flew backwards as a mouthful of fresh blood was spat out. Yen ran. Yun Yun's expression drastically changed when she saw this figure. She curled her hand and a wind surged. It wrapped around Nailan Yinran's flying body. He, one must not be distracted while fighting others. 2 mysterious figures suddenly flashed and appeared behind Yun Yun while she was rescuing Nailan Yinran. Powerful palm winds slammed mercilessly into Yun Yun's shoulders. Grug. The sudden attack caused Yun Yun to spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. Her body shot back and heavily collided with a large rock. Another muffled moan was emitted from her throat. Sect Chief Yun Yun, once you have been properly taught by the deputy chief, I will bring that little lover of yours to see you. Yao Yangjun revealed a lewd smile on his face. He slowly walked toward Yun Yun. His metal fan struck Yun Yun's lower abdomen in an extremely ruthless manner. Yun Yun clenched her teeth when she saw Yao Yangjun attacked. She unleashed the dou qi from her body in order to meet him in a fight, but she was just about to act when a thunder-like wind-splitting sound was suddenly emitted from the sky and a dazzling golden light erupted. An enormous golden figure suddenly landed in front of her. Its huge fist was abruptly swung and smashed into Yao Yangjun's body with lightning-like speed. Its frightening strength turned the shocked-faced Yao Yangjun into mincemeat with just a punch. Shock surged onto the faces of the experts from the profound Sky Sect by the side when they suddenly saw Yao Yangjun turn into mincemeat. Their eyes were horrified as they stared at the enormous golden figure. Their bodies quickly pulled back. The dogs from the profound Sky Sect are still as unlikable as ever. The rumbling low voice from the golden human figure, which was dozens of feet tall, slowly sounded after bursting Yao Yangjun apart with a punch. Lu Tsang's expression gradually turned gloomy after hearing the low and deep voice of that golden human figure. Expert, may I know who you are? This is a matter between my profound Sky Sect and the Flower Sect. Are you really intending on intervening? Lu Tsang's eyes were dark and dense as he glared at the golden giant standing in front of Yun Yun. He inquired in a deep voice. The dou qi within Lu Tsang's body was quietly circulated while he spoke. With one glance, it was obvious that this person had come with ill intent. He needed to be careful. That 70-foot-tall golden human figure merely laughed at Lu Tsang. The figure did not even give Lu Tsang a reply. The giant's feet ruthlessly kicked Yao Yangjun's corpse in front of him. That terrifying strength caused the body of Yao Yangjun to ruthlessly shoot toward Lu Tsang like a cannonball. You are seeking death. Lu Tsang's expression became gloomy when he saw the golden figure attack. His hand grabbed at the space in front of him. Yao Yangjun's corpse emitted a bang and exploded into clusters of bloody fogs. Today, this chief shall see just where you come from since you dare to intervene in the matters of my profound Sky Sect. Lu Tsang's foot stomped on the ground. His ghost-like body flashed, and he appeared above the golden giant's head. He clenched his fist and cried out in a savage voice, "Great Hell Dragon Fist!" Roar! Dou qi immediately surged out of his body in all directions the moment Lu Qing's cry sounded. It swiftly gathered and formed a large black dragon. The dragon seemed real. It was accompanied by a shocking momentum as it let out a roar and tore through the air, creating a frightening wind as it ruthlessly swam toward the golden giant. That golden giant slowly raised his head when faced with Lu Tsang's fierce attack. He revealed a pair of cold and indifferent golden eyes. His fist, which appeared to be made of gold, tightened. After which, a punch was thrown without any fancy actions. A punch was thrown forward, and the space in front suddenly collapsed, revealing many black cracks in space itself. Bang! The golden fist flashed over and collided with the black huge dragon. A terrifying force poured out like floodwater upon contact. A miserable cry sounded as that large black dragon was forcefully scattered. That remnant wind penetrated space and heavily struck Lu Tsang, whose expression had altered. Bam bam! Lu Tsang's body hurriedly withdrew upon sensing the frightening strength heading his way, but that strength was too terrifying. A low and deep air blast exploded against Lu Tsang's body before the force struck. Boom boom! This sudden explosive air blasted Lu Tsang until he flew backwards. He landed in 100-foot-large stone. A frightening remnant force instantly caused that huge rock to emit a crack sound, covering it with densely packed cracks. Finally, it turned into stone dust amid a deep sound. Hiss! Shock was immediately revealed in the eyes of the surrounding experts from the Profound Sky Sect when they saw that Lu Tsang was unable to even receive one punch from the mysterious golden giant. They were clearly aware of Lu Tsang's strength. Although the reason that Lu Tsang could reach his current position as the deputy chief of the Profound Sky Sect was not completely based on merit, he did possess a strength that was at the peak of the Do Zun class. Maybe he was the strongest in their present group. None of them would have imagined that this person with the strength of a peak Do Zun was unable to last even one exchange in the hands of the golden giant. Just who is this person? Is he actually this frightening? A flicker rapidly flashed through the eyes of the experts from the Profound Sky Sect. By being able to send Lu Tsang, whose strength was at the peak of the Do Zun class, flying with a punch, it meant that this person's strength had, at the very least, reached a 2-change or a 3-change peak Do Zun. Bastard! Elder Xiao and everyone else attacked together with this chief. Lu Tsang miserably struggled to climb up from the rock dust at this moment. He rubbed off the trace of blood on the corner of his mouth and furiously roared. That skinny bamboo-like black-robed elder, who was the first to attack, looked different when he heard the roar. He could only clench his teeth and nod with a dark expression on his face. There were so many people on their side. If they were to attack together, this person would not be able to gain much of an upper hand, even though he possessed a 3-change peak Do Zun strength. Roar! The remaining experts from the Profound Sky Sect could only suppress the fear within their hearts in the face of Lu Tsang's roar. Do Chi surged from their bodies at the same time, after which many incredibly powerful Do Chi attacks tore through space and explosively shot over. Over 10 elite Do Zuns attacked together. Their might was relatively frightening, and space seemed to tremble as a result. Be careful. Yun Yun's expression changed when she saw Lu Tsang's group attacking at the same time. She hurriedly cried out, "Hemph!" The golden giant let out a cold snort when faced with Lu Tsang's group's joint attack. He advanced instead of pulling back, taking a couple of steps that caused the land to tremble. A bright golden light erupted from his body. Looking from a distance, he appeared like a furious metal statue. Break! Without using any Do skills, every part of the golden giant contained an indestructible, frightening strength. A punch was thrown and space crumbled. Many black lines continued to spread apart. Bang! The giant golden fist was thrown over, and all Do skills basically burst apart at this instant. A frightening storm penetrated space. Finally, it poured into the bodies of the Profound Sky Sect's experts. Grug! Grug! With such a frightening strength, everyone other than Lu Tsang and the bamboo-thin black-robed elder spat out a mouthful of fresh blood in an instant. Their bodies were like flying cannonballs that rubbed over the ground and violently flew 1,000 feet away. Lu Tsang's face finally revealed a frightened expression when he saw the experts from the Profound Sky Sect were knocked unconscious. No one knew if they were alive or dead. Despite so many people joining hands, they were unable to cause the Golden Demon any harm. Who exactly are you? We can talk things over nicely. Lu Tsang saw the cold and indifferent golden eyes that had suddenly turned toward him. A chill was immediately felt in his heart as he hurriedly spoke. Bang! The golden giant ignored Lu Tsang's words and took a big step forward. He advanced one step after another, and an enormous shadow covered the land, looking like a descending death god. Flee! Lu Tsang understood that it was impossible for the golden giant to let him off. He sensed the murderous desire that the golden giant had thrown at him. He was decisive as his foot violently stomped on the ground. His figure rushed back with lightning-like speed. Bastard! Once this chief ascertains your identity, I will definitely get you to suffer a fate worse than death. A ferocity flickered within Lu Tsang's eyes as he wildly fled. He had enjoyed many respectful eyes wherever he went since becoming the deputy sect chief of the Profound Sky Sect. When had he ever ended up in such a miserable state? While Lu Tsang continued to think vicious thoughts in his heart, a light suddenly flickered in the sky. A glaring golden light flashed in the corner of his eye, causing the skin on his head to suddenly burst apart. He abruptly raised his head as the golden giant unknowingly appeared. Why is he so fast? Disbelief flashed across Lu Tsang's heart when he saw the golden giant appear behind him. This feeling had just risen when the metal fist of the golden giant ruthlessly smashed into his back with a terrifying strength. Grug! The Doqi defenses on Lu Tsang's body were completely useless at this moment. A frightening strength poured into his body like floodwater. In an instant, the strength shattered his internal organs and even his bones into dust. Grug! A mouthful of fresh blood that contained some shattered internal organs was spat out of Lu Tsang's mouth. The ferocious and vicious expression from earlier still remained on his face, but life was quickly fading from his eyes. Even after he died, he could not understand why this mysterious golden giant would kill them in such a crazy fashion the moment it appeared. He had merely been chasing Yun Yun's group. That golden giant suddenly landed in front of Yun Yun, and the Flower Sect elders shocked gazes after Lu Tsang was killed with just a punch. After which, those cold and indifferent golden eyes looked to the northern sky. That bamboo-like, black-robed person had fled in that direction. Swish! The sound of rushing wind suddenly appeared when the golden giant was looking at that patch of sky. A black figure soon shot over and smashed into the ground. It was that Profound Sky Sect's elder who had fled earlier. Another few black figures rushed over in a flash behind this figure. They appeared on the empty ground. You are Queen Medusa? Yun Yun looked at the group of people who had appeared. Her eyes suddenly focused on an extremely cool and beautiful woman. A shock immediately surfaced on her face as she cried out in disbelief. Sect Chief of the Misty Cloud Sect, Yun Yun? Kai Lin's brows were slightly knit when she saw Yun Yun. Her pretty eyes shifted to that golden giant, and a soft snort was emitted from her nostrils. No wonder this fellow had hurried over in such an anxious and furious manner the moment he had heard that the Flower Sect was in trouble. It was because Yun Yun was present. Yun Yun was slightly startled when she saw Kai Lin look over. She seemed to have suddenly recalled something. Her startled eyes landed on the golden giant as she muttered, "Xiao Yan?" Nalan Yinran's lovely figure by the side slightly froze when she heard Yun Yun's voice. She lifted her head in a greatly stunned manner. She did not believe that this person, who had relied on his own strength to eliminate the group from the Profound Sky Sect, would be Xiao Yan. A golden light burst out from that golden giant in front of the many pairs of eyes. Its body quickly shrank. Within a short moment, it had turned into a skinny figure. "Haha, are you all right?" The skinny figure turned around, and a familiar face appeared in front of Yun Yun's and Nalan Yinran's astounded eyes. So he didn't reach his position based on merit? Be more like he is a little lacking in strength for his position. Yun Yun was stunned as she stared at that familiar face. A long while later, she finally recovered and bitterly laughed. "It is really you." Xiao Yan grinned. He took out a jade bottle from his storage ring and handed it to Yun Yun. Yun Yun understood his intention and took a pill from within it to consume. After which, she handed the jade bottle to Nalan Yinran and got her to distribute the medicinal pills inside to the other elders. "Why are all of you here?" Yun Yun's expression was a little better after consuming the medicinal pill. Her pretty eyes swept over Kai Lin and Xiao Yan. She shifted her eyes away while asking in a seemingly random manner. "We are coincidentally entering the ancient wasteland region when we met the members of the Profound Sky Sect. After that, we sensed your group." Xiao Yan smiled and replied. "Oh." Yun Yun slightly nodded. Her pretty eyes roamed for a while before they finally paused on Kai Lin. She said, "It is unexpected that I am able to meet you here." When Yun Yun was still in the Jiama Empire back then, she had received Guhi's invitation to head to the vast Tager Desert to snatch the green lotus core flame from Medusa. Subsequently, Kai Lin had appeared at the Misty Cloud Sect because of Xiao Yan. On the whole, their meetings were not pleasant ones. These two women had formed a grudge. Nevertheless, it was clear that neither of them had expected their next meeting to be in such a place. Kai Lin faintly nodded. Being cold and indifferent, she did not add anything, nor did she intend on talking with Yun Yun. When Kai Lin didn't say anything more, Yun Yun, who was somewhat proud in her bones, naturally did not offer any warm feelings because of Kai Lin's coldness. Hence, she also became quiet. Xiao Yan was a little embarrassed when he saw this atmosphere form between the two women. He threw a glance at the little fairy doctor in order to seek her help, but she only glanced at him before turning her head away. This caused him to feel a little depressed. It was unexpected that the gentle and obedient little fairy doctor would abandon him at such a moment. "Junior Pavilion Chief, thank you for your help this time around." At this moment, an elder from the Flower Sect, who had consumed a medicinal pill given by Nalan Yinran, walked forward and thanked Xiao Yan. "Haha, elder is too polite. The Falling Star Pavilion has a good relationship with the Flower Sect in the first place. Moreover, Yun Yun and I are old acquaintances. It is only right for me to intervene and help." Xiao Yan laughed. He mused for a moment and said, "Elder, may I know how long it has been since you entered this ancient region?" "It has been nearly 5 days, but we have not followed an exact route. Hence, our speed is quite slow. Along the way, we even attracted a group of extremely ferocious beasts. Then, the Profound Sky Sect launched a sneak attack. Their attack resulted in Elder Qing Hua's death." "Ugh." That elder spoke in a somewhat grieved manner. Xiao Yan bitterly smiled and shook his head. He asked, "In that case, does Elder know about the situation regarding the other factions?" "They should be fast approaching the ancient region stage of the ancient wasteland region. That is a place that has been left behind since the ancient times. A normal ferocious beast would not approach that place. Hence, it could be considered a safe region in the ancient wasteland region." Yun Yun by the side suddenly replied, "However, there is still a 2 days' journey from our location to that place." "Ancient region stage, huh?" Xiao Yan's eyes revealed an expression of contemplation. He wished to successfully obtain the Bodhisattva heart, but it was clearly impossible for them to reach that place with just their strengths. Any mysterious treasures would be protected by a unique beast. Even less needed to be said about this extremely rare and unique treasure known as the Bodhisattva ancient tree. The unique beast guarding it would naturally be extremely frightening. Hence, he needed to borrow the strength of the other factions in order to benefit from the chaos. Otherwise, he would not have the slightest chance. However, the factions able to resolve these many obstructions and eventually reach the ancient region stage were definitely extremely strong. Moreover, there might be some of Xiao Yan's enemies there. An example was the Hall of Souls. Xiao Yan narrowed his eyes slightly and softly said, "Why don't we travel together during the subsequent journey? Our strength will ultimately be a little stronger if our parties unite. We will be able to help each other if we meet any trouble." Regardless of how strong some of the factions in the ancient region stage were, Xiao Yan needed to reach that place first. Otherwise, it would be useless to simply rely on their strength. Yun hesitated for a moment after hearing Xiao Yan's suggestion. The atmosphere of Xiao Yan's group caused her find it difficult to get used to. However, she could only nod her head after seeing her group of injured members. They had already met a great deal of danger in this ancient wasteland region over these few days. Just their strength alone would likely find it difficult to reach the ancient region stage. We will take the path to the east first. Although the route towards the west is a little closer, the main road at that place is occupied by an ancient heaven demon python, which strength is comparable to a 5-change peak Do Zun expert. We will definitely disturb it if we wish to pass, Yun said. Ancient heaven demon python? Xiao Yan was startled upon hearing this. This was an extremely rare mutated snake beast. It only surpassed the 9 serene deep ground python in terms of ferocity, but this creature was too rare. It was almost extinct in the outside world, yet it still existed in this wasteland. However, the rarity of this ancient heaven demon python was not the reason that caused Xiao Yan to be startled. Instead, it was because he recalled that the blood of an ancient heaven demon python had the effect of refining and strengthening one's physical body. The current him needed to raise his physical strength. Only by doing this would he be able to practice the King Kong glass body until the 99-foot peak. He was in the ancient wasteland region, and he would still have to interact with those powerful factions soon. It would not be easy to do anything if he did not possess sufficient strength as a trump card. Moreover, Xiao Yan had remembered that he had once read from an ancient book that the ancient heaven demon python liked to build a blood pool because the blood pool would be the location where its offspring would be born. In order to enable its offspring to absorb enough energy, it would spend hundreds of years gathering natural treasures with rich energy to throw them into the blood pool. Finally, this energy is absorbed by the blood and merges with the bodies of the offspring being born. Did you see the ancient heaven demon python with your own eyes? A flash appeared in Xiao Yan's eyes as he asked. Yes, we even exchanged blows and were nearly unable to escape. Yun solemnly replied. So it's like this? Xiao Yan muttered to himself. He immediately lifted his head, looked at Yun and said, I plan to make a trip over. The ancient heaven demon python is very useful to me. What? Yun's group was immediately startled when they heard that Xiao Yan was planning to head over to search for that incomparable fierce and brutal ancient heaven demon python. I have my own plans and will not do things without care for their consequences, Xiao Yan smiled and replied. Relax, although the ancient heaven demon python is powerful, it might not be able to defeat all of us. Yun could only helplessly shake her head when she heard Xiao Yan's insistence. She mused for a moment before sighing, Since you insist on it, let's travel together. My group has so many injured members. We will be in greater danger if we separate. Coincidentally, we also know the route to take to help you quickly find the ancient heaven demon python. In that case, I will be troubling you. Relax. I will not allow any accidents to befall your group. Xiao Yan sighed in relief and laughed upon hearing her words. I really regret telling you about this. Yun bitterly smiled and shook her head. She had originally wanted to use the incident to warn Xiao Yan. Unexpectedly, It had ended up attracting him over. Everyone should rest first. We will head out in half an hour. Xiao Yan smiled. He waved his hand and informed everyone. Everyone nodded when they heard his words, after which they sat down. Xiao Yan also sat cross-legged on a large rock. He shut his eyes and entered a resting state. Half an hour of rest quickly passed. Xiao Yan opened his eyes and saw the faces of members of the flower sect were much better. Only then did he nod his head and stand up. He was just about to speak when he abruptly sensed something. His eyes looked to the sky behind him. A moment later, he waved his hand and quickly said, "Everyone, hide your auras. Someone is coming." The entire group was startled upon hearing Xiao Yan's words. They hurriedly withdrew into the forest, suppressing their auras and breaths to the weakest levels in the process. Swoosh, swoosh. Soon after Xiao Yan's group withdrew into the forest, wave after wave of rushing wind suddenly resounded in the sky. Many figures flew through the sky with extremely fast speed. These people are really bold. Aren't they afraid of attracting the attacks from those ferocious beasts? The little fairy doctor slightly frowned and softly commented when she saw these people dare to recklessly fly. Xiao Yan knit his brow. His eyes stared at the light figures in the sky. With his outstanding eyesight, he clearly made out a lady in colorful clothes, leading section of this large group. This lady gave Xiao Yan a familiar feeling. It is Feng Qing heir from the Heaven Demon Phoenix tribe. The moment this thought appeared in his heart, Xiao Yan suddenly recalled something as some shock appeared in his eyes. He recalled that when he saw Feng Qing heir at the Dosheng remains back then, she merely had the strength of a Dozong. However, the feeling that she gave him now definitely surpassed that of an ordinary peak Dozun expert. Moreover, he vaguely sensed that the current Feng Qing heir gave him a somewhat different feeling than before. This difference did not originate from her outer appearance. Instead, it came from her soul. The Feng Qing heir of the past was unable to make Xiao Yan feel any pressure by relying on the bloodline of the Demon Phoenix tribe. However, he was able to sense a faint pressure emanating from Feng Qing heir. He had once sensed this kind of pressure from Ziyin. It is the pressure from an ancient heaven phoenix. Xiao Yan's eyes flickered. A moment later, he finally recovered as he gently inhaled a breath of cool air. The ancient heaven phoenix had disappeared from this world. Why did this kind of pressure appear on Feng Qing heir? This woman has definitely met some great opportunity that has allowed her strength to soar. Looks like I cannot delay any longer. This time around, I must head to where the ancient heaven demon python is and rely on its blood pool to train the King Kong glass body to its peak. Moreover, I must break through to the 9th star of a Dozun. Xiao Yan clenched his fist. These enemies, whose strength had soared, caused him to be filled with a kind of pressure.